Welcome. So today we're going to take a look at the new tutorial, see how it works, get it done. So go ahead and accepted the mission already. So we're going to the journal. That'll take us to the next step, which will be to eat and drink. We're going to start out with 25,000 here. That's the 5,000 aUEC per referral and 20,000 for a starter pack. Alright, so you basically hit F to grab it, and then if you actually hold your left mouse button, it will open it and drink it all. If you just click it, it'll take like a drink, but it won't actually drink the whole thing. And then you can look at it, hold F, right click. Alright, and then the same thing for the drink, or for the food, just hit F to carry it, and then hold F, and it'll eat it all. Again, if you just tap F, it'll just take some of it. And the next step is going to be to equip your helmet. Now, basically what this does is it's kind of a quick intro to the game. Basic movement. Get you to the spaceport, get you in the ship, get you flying up to the station, and so forth. And then we're going to add one piece onto it. We're going to actually do our first mission at the end of the tutorial. And we're going to do a cargo mission. In this particular case, I'll be using the tutorial ship, which is a Pisces, to get up to Port Tressler. We're starting New Babbage here. And then when we will deliver one of our ships, or our ship, a cutter in this case, up there, we're going to load it up with the cargo from a hauling mission and take it back to New Babbage and turn it in. All told, that'll take us up to probably a little over 100,000. Alright, so for this map, you basically just have to sit here and wait until it registers that you're looking at it. There we go. Shopping kiosk, exactly that. You just go over and access it. You don't have to buy anything right now.
Let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
But you can buy drinks here, some ammo, some other equipment for your hangar and stuff. And we're going to go ahead and wait and do the mission. Then we'll pick up some stuff up at the station up top. And of course, the trains, you're just waiting for them to show up. You get on, take it to the next one. This one goes to the spaceport. If you go to the other side behind me, that actually goes to the commons. Right. And a lot of people don't bother with the tutorial, but when you're first starting out, especially after a wipe, it's like an easy 40 grand for something you're probably going to do anyway. Because a lot of people will leave here and go up to the station and home from there.
Capsule now approaching station. Stand clear of disembarking passengers. Capsule now approaching station. Stand clear of disembarking passengers.
You can get in here and watch the clock up there to see how long it's going to take to get there.
The capsule will be leaving the station.
It'll show you how long till it takes off, and then how long till it gets to the next destination.
Careful, doors are now closing.
And if you get on a server where people are doing the Hunt the Polaris mission, go ahead and grab it. You don't have to go to it. You can just be in the group or in the mission, and when people complete it, you'll get the credit. Normally I would cut out a lot of the traveling, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not going to. Just so that everybody can see, like, you know, how long it takes, what you gotta do.
Nearing next stop.
Alright, then we'll go in here, we'll take the elevator up. Obviously, depending on where you start, is gonna differ. For instance, if you start at Lorville, then you're basically just gonna take the tram or the train to the station, to the spaceport, and then you'll run out down and around to where you need to be for the hangars. If you go to Orison, then you'll have to come out and you'll have to take one of the little taxis, the shuttles, over to the spaceport. And Area 18, pretty much the same. You'll have to take a tram. That'll take you over there. Alright, so I have tried a couple of different ways over the time, and I found that I was just going to go to my hangar and call it, but I have noticed sometimes that glitches. So I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to go back over here and call the ship, and then we'll store it after it comes up.
Welcome to the aUEC vehicle retrieval system. Please visit us again. Welcome to the aUEC.
And we'll go ahead and retrieve it. Then once it comes out, we'll put it back.
Vehicle has been delivered to the. Please visit us again. Welcome to the aUEC. Your vehicle has been moved to us.
We do that because sometimes when you call from the ASOP terminal, it delivers the ship and it's all jacked up, like in the floor and stuff like that. So easier just to call a ship, deliver it, and then store it. That'll actually initiate your hangar. Alright, and then we go back in here. Now, you notice that hasn't completed when we went to the elevator. Sorry, just looking to see what I got here. This is an alternate account so that I use for tutorials, usually.
Welcome to the aUEC vehicle.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and retrieve it, and then once it comes up, then it should complete that take elevator task. Alright, just for those who aren't familiar, you actually interact with stuff with F and your mouse. So in this particular case, it's going to bring up a Pisces, which is the tutorial ship. And then we'll have to go up to the access pad on it and click on it to get it to open the door, the ramp. Alright, so we're going to hit U to actually power up the ship. And then we'll hit I to do the engines. If you hold F, then you can actually put more pips into the different things. So, and this gun ship, because it's a tutorial ship, apparently doesn't have any guns. Alright, so once we exit the hangar, that should clear that one. So we'll go to hit F1, go to comms, go to friends, click on the spaceport. That'll request the hangar. There's also a keybind you can use in flight in the keybinds. Running into a little issue here with graphical glitches. It seems to have semi-spawned somebody else's ship in my hangar. Happens occasionally. Just kind of waiting to see what happens. See if it opens the door. Then eventually I get tired of waiting and I just try to go through the door. So it's just a graphical glitch. Somebody else is in their hangar and for some reason it's overflowing between the two. Superimposing itself on my hangar. If this happens, just approach the door slowly and see if you start to go through it. If you do, then just keep going. Here we go. Alright, so now we're out. Alright, if you haven't, go ahead and put your landing gear up because that'll limit you to 29 meters per second. And then this part of it is basically just follow the checkpoints. What this is going to do is it's going to take you through the checkpoints up to a point where you can quantum out to Port Tressler. So you can do this in SCM or you can do it in quantum. SCM is a little bit slower than nav mode, but gives you a little better control. Alright, and once you actually get to each one, it should show you the next one. And I believe there's like 4 or 5 checkpoints, and then eventually to get you above. Really what it comes down to is you have to get above 10 kilometers in order to be able to quantum. You can make liberal use of your boost. Once it gets down to the red, you're going to start to lose it once it's gone. And if you let it get in the red before you let up, it'll take longer to recover. So I usually use the boost till I'm just above the red, and then I'll let it refill. Alright, this one up here should be the last one before we have to go to Port Tressler. Alright, and then once we get up here, it's going to tell us to go to nav mode and jump to Port Tressler. Well, actually, what it might just do is just tell us to go to Port Tressler and quantum to it. In order to do that, you have to be in nav mode. And you can get to nav mode by hitting the B button if you haven't changed it. And you actually engage quantum travel with the left mouse button. Alright, so we'll go ahead and switch to nav mode. Line it up. It'll actually charge. And then you hold your mouse button, your left mouse button, and that'll initiate it. And then I usually stay in nav mode till I get closer to the station, inside of 10K. And then I'll switch over to SCM to land. Alright, and then you can do the same thing with the comms to actually call for landing, or you could use your keybind that you set up, which I did. And again, that should be in the plate. Keybinds. Under key bindings, I think. Alright, and then if you're not familiar with flying too much, you probably want to put your landing gear when you get close to the doors and just kind of ease it in. Especially if you're using a keyboard mouse where it doesn't give you any kind of level of control. Alright, then we'll go ahead and hit I to turn the engines off. We'll get out, and then we need to store the ship.
Welcome to the aSOC. Your vehicle has been moved to our store. Please visit us again.
Alright, and then once it stores, that'll complete the mission. Alright, well, okay. Actually, we have to check the journal first. You can go ahead and read all of these if you want. But that last one right there, traversing the verse, that's the one you want. Alright, so now, if we check our balance, we've gotten 40,000 out of it. Now, let's double that, or better.
Welcome to the
So
aSOC
now,
vehicle retrieval system.
we'll go ahead and deliver the cutter, which is one of my ships on this account. I only have 2.
Please visit us again. Goodbye.
For those that aren't familiar, the cutter usually runs, what, probably somewhere around 50, 60.
Please visit us
And I think the Golem runs, right now, I think 60 or 70. Something like that. But it gives you a good, if you're in the industrial play, it gives you a good start. Because you can mine and then rent a ship to deliver it once you have enough. Or you can even use the cutter. You just have to make more trips. What I've seen some people do is, if they get like high-end minerals or like terranite, bexylite, so forth, they'll use their cutter to transport that, and they'll leave the miscellaneous other stuff at the station until they can afford to buy a better ship. But early on, you need as much money as you can. So Port Tressler is one of those places where you can actually rent a cargo ship. You can rent, I think, the Taurus, possibly the Cutlass Black. You can mine at mining. You can get at mining stations. All right. All right. So we already took the mission for 11 SCU, but Balmac, the cutter only hauls 4 SCU according to the documents. Well, that'd be incorrect. The cargo grid on the cutter only does 4 SCU. The hold will actually hold more. It will hold about almost 3 times that. And I forgot, I don't have a tractor beam. So you'll need a tractor beam. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and store the ship, because this is not a permanent hangar.
To the aSOC
So to avoid having to claim the ship, we'll go ahead and store it. Anytime you leave the hangar on a station, I would store the ship. Stations, jump point stations like gateway stations, any of those. Any place, including other planets, that is not your home planet. Store your ship before you leave the hangar. Do not leave any cargo or anything else in there, in the hangar, that you don't want to lose, because it's liable to disappear. I've seen rare instances where people's stuff has stayed until they came back, but I wouldn't bank on it, especially early on in the game. So we're going to go ahead and go down to the cargo center, and then we'll just pick up a multi-tool and a tractor beam. I think we might actually grab a little more here. We might get a backpack and some drinks too. Just so we have it and if we need it. Never know when you get injured. So we're going to pick up a few things here. So there's the personal weapon multi-tool. Then we'll go to attachments. Then I'll give us the tractor beam. And then we'll go to the drinks. We'll grab a couple of these Cruise Luxes. You only need 2. And then we'll go ahead and grab a cheap backpack. This MacFlex rucksack will be fine. As a matter of fact, that's the only one that'll fit on this armor. And I guess there's not an armor or a inventory station here. I think there's one out here somewhere. Maybe not. Yep, there it is. Right there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the backpack on. Go ahead and equip that by double clicking it. Then we'll drag the tractor beam onto it. And then we'll move these drinks in there. Always carry 2 of these, because even when they're empty, you can stack them on top of each other. And when you right click to carry it, it'll be full. It's a little glitch in the game, so you might as well take advantage of it. I'm not usually a fan of glitches, but this one is useful. Then we'll go ahead and go in here. We'll grab some med pens and a med gun. I think your suit will only carry 3 or 4, so we're just going to grab what we need. We'll just grab a couple, because they're expensive. Alright. Yeah, if it does that, just check and see if I bought it. In that case, it did. And we'll go ahead and buy 2 refills just to have them on us, because you can go through them faster than you think. Alright, now let's go back to the hangar. Now, if you haven't logged out or done anything else, theoretically you should just be able to go back to the elevator and take your elevator to your hangar. If you log out here, you'll probably have to call a ship first to initiate it.
Welcome to the aUEC vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has been
Alright, so we'll go ahead and get our ship coming up. We'll go ahead and equip the stuff we just bought. Alright. You can just hit I and do it. So we'll go ahead and put those in. Drop these down here. Double click that. Then it'll show up in the pistol slot. They've actually changed it since the past. It no longer mounts on the front of the leg or in the utility spot. Now it has to go where the handgun usually goes. So you cannot carry both. It's either a med gun or a pistol. And to actually equip it to use it, you'll hit 3. always close your ship behind you. Doesn't matter where you're at. Come on. The auto opening function of this doesn't always work. Alright, so now we're going to position our ship to make loading easier. See, the cargo bay is back and to the left. So we'll go hit F4 after we put our pips in. Guess it's not going to let me do those two. Alright, whatever. Alright. So lift off, turn a little bit. That's the opening we want to actually back up to. This is actually your cargo elevator. So we want to have the cargo area facing it, just to make it easier to load. I usually try to keep on the hangar floor, the part that actually goes down, just to be on the safe side. Alright. Come on, ship. Alright, so we'll go over here to the cargo elevator control. Now the first thing we'll have to do is lower it, so we can actually get the stuff loaded on it. In order to load it on there, you just drag it, drop it. You can even select all and move it, whichever the case may be. And we'll wait for it to come back up before we exit. Alright, so we've got 11 SCU, and our cargo grid will hold 4. With careful placement, we can do this. So go ahead and put the first 4 on the grid. And yes, if it's too close, it will knock you down. But that's why we bought med pens and a med gun, just in case. In case you hadn't figured it out, you can't grab stuff that's sandwiched in. You have to get the stuff to either side of it first. Alright, so here's where we get a little off the beaten path, off the grid. You can fit another stack of 2 here. And theoretically you could do this in 2 trips. Or you might even get the mission that's only 8 SCU, in which case it's a lot easier. So we'll do 6 on one side, 5 on the other side that's not on the grid. Biggest thing about this is it requires careful placement. You want the crates to be far enough up so you can get them all in, but not so far that it blocks the door. You still have to get through there, since we only have 1 point of entry. You notice, just to be on the safe side, I'm coming all the way down the ramp before I start trying to put it up in there. And when you push it in, it will actually push it up against the door. So we may have to adjust it a little bit once we get up in there. Alright. So this will be 11. As you can see, theoretically, we could put 12 in if we had to. Close the door. And then we cannot get through here. So we'll have to move some stuff back. So pull out your tractor beam again. and just kind of move it back up against the ramp. There, I was able to get a little move. Nope, still can't get in there. Too far over. Alright, so let's move this on top of that one. And then let's see if we can move this one. He was trying to go over. Alright. Just need to move it a little bit. Not quite. Oop. And now we're stuck in the crate. Okay. If this happens, just keep messing with it, moving it around a little bit here and there. It won't let you walk out of it, unfortunately. So you just have to keep messing with it until you get out. Eventually, you will get out. Might take a little while. There we go. So, and we'll basically pull it up against this batch. And now we've got enough room to get through. Alright. Now, we'll get back in the pilot seat. We'll hit I. And we'll take off. Again, comms and friends and the space station to get out, or your keybind that you set for it, whichever the case may be. We're going to go ahead and set our path, the New Babbage, which is where the International Spaceport is. You see the dotted line there, that means it mapped it. If it doesn't, then you might be obscured, or it might be in the way, something might be in the way. So you just have to go out and try again. Alright, then you'll line up to go to Microtech first, because you have to go to the planet first before you can go to any place on it. It's another change they made a couple of patches ago. And then we'll line up and jump to New Babbage. Again, B to go into quantum mode. Once you get lined up and charged up, hold the left mouse button, and that'll engage it. You'll notice up in the top left we got H2 fuel and QT fuel. H2 is your hydrogen fuel. That's basically what you use to fly around normally. QT fuel is what you use for quantum jumps and going through the jump tunnel over to Pyro. So make sure those don't get too low. You don't necessarily have to refuel or repair every time, but I would. Alright, then I just go ahead and leave it in nav mode, going down to the planet. Again, until I get within about 10k, and then I'll usually switch over. Just depending on how froggy I'm feeling that day. Remember, even after you jump into SCM mode, there's going to be a little bit of lag before it slows down enough. So don't get too close, otherwise you may still hit it. Alright, and then basically we're just going to call for hangar again. No need to rush to the door because you're going to have to wait for it to open anyway. And I would pretty much let it open all the way, just so you don't clip anything on your ship. Go ahead and put our landing gear down, hit N. And then you can auto land by holding N, but we're not going to. Alright. You got to land in the center of the hangar more or less, so that way it'll trigger it to close the doors. And then we're going to hit Alt, left Alt and F to bring up this menu. Go to vehicle and then doors open. We're going to do this because obviously we're going to have trouble getting back to the door with all those boxes in the way. So go ahead and refuel. And then we'll go ahead and turn the ship towards that hangar freight elevator. And for those that are interested, the cutter will actually carry a 1SCU crate and an Atlas Geo. So you can use it for geo mining. I'll probably do a video on it here at some point. If your ship rocks around like this when it's parked, just take off, move forward a little bit. Just means it's sitting on something that's not letting it sit level. Alright, now remember we had all that stuff on the one side back here, so we're probably going to have trouble getting out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the tractor beam and move stuff. We might be able to push it out, or we might have to move it over so we can get to it. There we go. Now we'll get past it and whoop, point past it and grab that one, push it out. And we can take and move this one out. Alright, and then basically do the same thing with the other ones. And we can arrange it once we get out there. We just have to do it with the one side. The other side should be fine. Alright, then we'll go back out here and place them on the grid where they're supposed to be. Use my OCDs. Alright, so now that we've got those 5 out, we'll go ahead and get these 6. And then we'll turn it in. It basically holds like 5 deep and I think 5 or 6 across. And then you can actually stack it like 3 or 4 high. Something like that. Might be 6 across. Probably 6 across. So 6 across, 5 deep will put you at 30 per level. 4 levels. That gives you your 120 SCU. If just a quick piece of info, they actually do get base building in at some point. This is what they were talking about, those warehouses storing. So we'll go ahead and hit F to get in here. We'll send it down. We'll get this menu here, hit confirm, and that'll turn in the delivery. Alright, and when you close this, you should see where it's completed. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and move the ship back to the center so we can store it. I mean, obviously, if you're going to take off again, don't worry about this, but Come on, door. There we go. Alright. Go ahead and get it parked here. We'll go ahead and hit I to turn the engines off again. And then if you didn't repair it earlier, you could have there, but... Alright, and then we'll go ahead and store the ship, or do whatever you want at that point. And again, make sure you close your ramp. It's usually just good habit to get into. That way if you land somewhere, your ship's not sitting open. And again, if you're going to leave the hangar, I would store the ship. Alright, as you can see, we started out with 25 grand. Now we've got 110. So, not quite. So about 85 grand or so. So yeah, about 85 grand. Not bad. Alright, and that'll be it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Have a good day.